That's some good hot chocolate.
That cup is empty.
Oh, Wizzy, shut up. We have visitors. Happy holidays, everybody. Welcome back to Ross and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power Hour. I'm your host, Ross Pitch Shark Hunter, the merriest of them all. And here's my other co-host, Wizzy Puff, the jolliest of them all. He's so jolly.
Hey, I'm Grump.
I'm not so grump.
And we're the Jingle Grumps. I can't remember what they actually say in the Christmas intro for that one.
I wrap stuff, I deliver that stuff. Naughty or nice, it's the Jingle Grumps.
That one's good.
Yeah.
If only we could be that creative.
Well, too bad we have to rip other people off. Speaking of...
To be fair, this would be ripping other people off as much as them, let's be honest.
Actually, you're right. Yeah, we're basically let's playing these stories. Speaking of, as you know, we read fan fictions in the My Little Pony fandom, and it's December. And you know what that means. Holiday season. And today, we have a most festive story for you lot. 2 stories, actually. The first story here is called The Night Sunset Shimmer Tried to Kill Santa Claus by Majin Sieko. Majin Sieko. Wizzy, gonna need you to run some data scans on that name.
I looked them up on Twitter, and they're a moderator for Fanfiction.
Really? I wonder if they've modded one of my stories.
That's why they're all demonetized.
Damn. All right. Sounds very holly and jolly. So, we should get to reading this story.
All right. The Night Sunset Shimmer Tried to Kill Santa Claus by Majin Sieko. Chapter: Stay Away from the Cookies. Sunset Shimmer snapped awake when she heard a sudden bump seemingly come from above. She looked at Pinkie Pie, who was snoring in her bed. Pinkie Pie had been gracious enough to let Sunset stay at the Pie residence for the upcoming Christmas holiday, and she was grateful that the homeless shelter agreed to not give up her bed for the evening. What? Is Sunset homeless? Man, that's a bombshell.
Well, yeah, I guess here she is. She actually does have an apartment in the show, which is a really good apartment. You know, one of those things that sitcoms do where the apartment is way better than it should be.
Do they show any, unhoused people in the Ponyville universe in Equestria?
They must have at some point.
A few hours ago, they had been sitting around the table, eating all sorts of delectable foodstuffs and engaging in the holiday cheer. Sunset Shimmer was pleased that she was able to spend Christmas with a family, even if it wasn't hers. She had heard so much about it on the television and radio, and finally got to see what all the fuss was about. They missed a comma there, and that was, annoying. Please do better. But then she asked about Santa Claus, and the answer shook her to her core. From what she had gathered from Pinkie Pie, Santa Claus was some kind of burglar who would steal your cookies and give you gifts in return. And Sunset wasn't about to let that rapscallion abscond with any of the Pie's cookies. Oh no, tonight, the cookies in this house would remain unmolested. Oh my God. Her heart caught in her throat when she heard heavy footsteps emanating from the roof. She slowly unzipped her sleeping bag and reached under Pinkie's bed. She visibly flinched when she heard a thud coming from downstairs, smiling when she lay her fingers on her prize. From under Pinkie's bed, she pulled a sledgehammer, inconveniently heavy for a normal human, but Sunset was no normal human. Hey, we were just talking about that.
What a coincidence. I guess it's not much of a coincidence when we're talking about this character.
Yeah, but just specifically, no, she's no normal human was like what you had said.
That is true.
She was a unicorn in a human's body. She slowly eased herself up, hefted the sledgehammer in her hands, and sneaked out of the room.
She's a human with a unicorn complex.
She took great care to creep across the hall and down the stairs, entering the living room at the bottom. It was then she saw the home invader, Santa Claus, the cookie thief, eating one of the stolen goods right in front of her. He was standing there, clad in red from head to toe, munching on a cookie while looking over a list he held in the other hand. Man, a list of people he's going to burgle that night? That's evil.
Disgusting.
Sunset Shimmer gulped.
Gulp. All right, this is it. For all the cookies in the world, you're going down.
She tiptoed across the floor, steeled herself, and took a mighty swing right at his head. She did not expect what happened next. Santa dropped the cookie and caught the head of the sledgehammer in his open hand, and the cookie froze in place.
I thought I already dropped off your present, Sunset Shimmer,
he said.
All right, Wizzy, I'm going to have to ask you to never become a Santa Claus.
I'm doing the perfect Santa voice for my Santa haunted house.
Oh, no.
His voice taking on a tone that reminded Sunset of Princess Celestia's. Sunset's body was awash in cold fear.
I live in a homeless shelter, you thief.
Is that so?
He asked. He took a few sniffs and chuckled warmly.
You're not from around here, are you?
No chuckle?
Oh, I can do a warm chuckle.
You're not from a...
Wait, that's not Santa. I should do the Santa chuckle.
You're not from around here, are you?
Sunset's eyes popped open.
How the hay do you know that?
Well, for one, hay is a rather uncommon expletive in this area,
he said as he turned around, still holding the head of the sledgehammer.
Plus, you reek of magic alien to this world.
Screw you.
Santa arched an eyebrow.
Let's bleep that screw you. It's a Christmas episode.
Santa arched an eyebrow.
Tell me, why did you attack me?
To stop you from stealing my friend's cookies, you burglar.
Sunset growled. Santa blinked, seemingly taking in what Sunset said. He then let out a low rumble of a chortle that morphed into a hearty belly laugh, leaving Sunset confused.
You mean...
He finally was able to get out.
You mean to tell me that you swung a sledgehammer at an immortal over cookies?
Yeah, and she's done worse for less.
Sunset steeled her gaze.
Yes, you dirty ape. Now, hands off Pinky's cookies.
Fine, fine,
Santa said.
I'll leave your friend's cookies alone.
Santa then lowered his head.
You know, many people have tried to kill me in my long years. Some for fame, others for wealth, and even more to try and gain my power. But you're different.
It's going to be the trope with like not like the other girls, and she's going to be like with Santa.
Yes.
I bet there's probably some Sunset X Santa fic out there. Disturbing to think about.
Someone's probably thought about it, but there probably isn't.
I'm gonna make it.
Unless like they have like a Twilight becomes the Santa Claus from the movie The Santa Claus, starring Tim Allen. How so?
Sunset said, wearing a snarl on her face.
You're the first one to try and kill me for friendship, however misguided your actions may have been.
Aw. What's that supposed to mean, you jerk?
Santa beamed.
Nothing. It's just so rare that I see someone attempt something so foolhardily over a selfless act.
You're not the first immortal I've met.
I suppose not. Well then, have a Merry Christmas.
And with that, Santa disappeared. Sunset followed through with her swing, throwing her off balance, and the half-eaten cookie dropped to the floor. Sunset steadied herself with the sledgehammer and looked around to notice that there were several presents under the Christmas tree that weren't there before, including a small one encased in red and yellow wrapping paper that seemed to call out to her.
I mean, red and yellow is probably going to be kind of a common thing with Sunset Shimmer.
Yeah. So you know that present's for her?
Mm-hmm.
She laid the hammer on the ground, walking towards the tree, and knelt down, picking up the present in her hands. She noticed a small card taped to it labeled S. Shimmer. She opened the note and read what was written inside.
Dear Squidward, you've been a very good boy this year. Thanks for all your help.
Love, Santa. For proving that the magic of friendship extends beyond all sane bounds, even in this world. S. Claus.
Sunset stared at the box, then ripped open the wrapping to reveal a small brown cardboard box. She set down the box, opened it, and gasped. Inside was a worn, red, conical hat with a white trim, which revealed itself to be some kind of animal fur when she picked it up. She placed it on her head and found that it fit perfectly. She hummed contentedly and headed back upstairs, proud of herself for protecting her friend's cookies.
Hell yeah, Sunset.
Sunset Shimmer woke up to Pinky shaking her.
Santa came! Santa came!
Sunset blinked and shook her head.
That's nice, Pinky. Go away.
She neglected to mention that she had protected her baked goods from the robber.
How can you tell?
Pinky squealed.
Because he ate the cookies I left out. By the way, nice Santa hat, Sunset.
Sunset's eyes popped open as she snarled.
You filthy liar. I'll get you next year, Chris Kringle.
What a... Oh, he came back for the cookies. I didn't even realize.
Yeah. Man, I can't believe Santa would do that.
Santa is a good guy, but he's...
Yeah, we leave him offerings for a reason.
So what did you think about that one?
The end, by the way. I thought it was so good. Like, it's about Sunset Shimmer. A, there's a plus right there. B, it's about her trying to kill Santa Claus. That's just really funny to me. I do wish it was longer, like 27 chapters at least. And it's got a whole big story about Sunset Shimmer and Santa Claus having to, like, protect the world from some Martians or something like that. I don't know. So that would be nice. But what we got was brilliant. Anyways, I think it was a nice, really cute, really fun story to get me into the festive spirit.
Yeah, I really like the part where Santa grabs the head of the sledgehammer and then I'm just picturing it like an anime scene where you see the impact blow away from them.
Yeah.
And he's like, Omae-wamo, Shinderu. And Sunset's like, Noni?
Really? Well, I imagine that Santa would go something more like, I thought I already dropped off your present, Sunset Shimmer. That's what I imagined he would say.
You really predicted that line. You really predicted that nice zinger.
Yep.
That actually was a really good zinger, I gotta say.
Yeah, I loved it. Hey, they have 123 stories. That's fun.
Just like my house.
Santa probably doesn't know this Sunset Shimmer, does he? He's referring to the other Sunset Shimmer.
Oh, so she's probably like actually in a house, isn't she?
Yeah. Nice fun.
Yeah.
Good job, Majin Sieko.
Really good story for the first one after the 100th episode.
Definitely.
But will this one beat it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought you pre-read these, right?
No.
So we don't get any sex scenes?
Every time I try and pre-read one, you go, gross.
Okay, if you're trying to pre-read them, then that's a bit messed up.
God. I can't believe you've read this before. So I'm excited for this next story.
You mean Luna just learned about the play, A Hearth-Swarming Carol. Is that actually like a play in the show?
No.
Aw, I was hoping they had like a play episode of that for Hearth-Swarming.
There is... Okay, so there is a play episode, coincidentally, with Hearth-Swarming, but it's about the founders of Equestria, not a Hearth-Swarming Tale.
Oh.
But A Hearth-Swarming Tale is a Christmas Carol parody, and Luna is the ghost of Christmas yet to come.
What?
Yes.
That's
Starlight
awesome.
Glimmer doesn't get Hearth-Swarming. Twilight and Spike, I think just Twilight actually, read her the story of a Christmas Carol-ish. It's a Hearth-Swarming Carol. Or, no, a Hearth-Swarming Tale. There's actually also another Christmas Carol episode, sort of, in the form of For Whom the Sweetie Belle Toils.
I think I've heard of that one before.
It's got some freaky scenes.
Oh.
Essentially, Sweetie Belle is haunted by something that she just did to her sister. Luna goes into her dreams and goes, "Whoa, you messed up dog. Woo," and does the whole past, present, future thing. So yeah, Luna has played all of the Carol ghosts, technically, and she's also played the ghost of Christmas Yet to Come twice-ish, sort of. And that's how Equestria was made. We should get into this. Who's the spy, by the way?
This is by Singularity Dream.
That's what I love to hear.
Chapter 1, Spooky Ghost.
Ooh, didn't realize we were in an October fic.
Yeah, apparently got the dates messed up.
Weird.
Princess Celestia closed her bedroom door after thanking the guards on duty standing watch just outside. The glow around her horn flickered before vanishing. She let the tiredness of the day sink into her. Her regalia she removed by hoof instead of magic. The gold adornments left on the floor instead of placed properly where it was supposed to go. She reminded herself to pick it up in the morning before any of the castle staff saw the clutter. They got so worked up if the royal accoutrements weren't treated with the utmost respect. Here in the privacy of her bedchambers, after the sun was put to rest, the day felt so much longer than it could have possibly been. All the diplomatic visits and official holiday appearances. Every pony, nay, every bee. It says nay like a horse. It's very funny.
Love it.
This is what you get when you get a comedy story.
Like 50 episodes ago, I would have been like, God, shut up, Wizzy. That's funny. Modern day Ross is chill with that.
The horse references are always my favorite. Every pony, nay, every being, wanted to spend at least a moment in her presence on holiday, all believing the superstition that speaking to Princess Celestia on the winter holiday would bring blessings in the next summer. It had stopped being flattering several few centuries ago.
Oof.
She had enjoyed the yearly Canterlot pageant more than usual this year. Her faithful student was so adorable, as Clover the Clever and all 6 of her friends had done their parts wonderfully as well.
I was just talking about that.
Is that the play they did?
Yeah. It's about the founding of Equestria and the founding of Heartswarming.
Who's Clover the Clever?
Clover the Clever is this dope unicorn from the past. They were like sort of Star Swirl the Bearded's right-hand guy. And Clover the Clever, I guess, is just pretty cool.
So this was like, it had Star Swirl the Bearded in it? The guy who's still with them?
No.
Oh.
He wasn't with them at this point. But also...
Yeah, but I mean, he's still alive.
In purgatory, but yeah.
Yeah.
But no, he's not in it.
Oh, he wasn't in the play?
No.
Sad.
Yep.
As always, it amused her how the depiction of the 6 founders continued to drift over the centuries. Now the day was over. Her sister could handle anything that came up. It was time for Celestia to enjoy the restful sleep of a long winter night. A luxury that added even more thankful thoughts about her sister's return.
Clank.
As the one in charge of the beginning and end of each day, Princess Celestia had a near-perfect sense of time.
Clank. I kind of just dubbed myself the sound effect guy.
It works out.
So she knew that it had only been 10 minutes between resting her head on her favorite comfy pillow and when she started hearing what sounded like the clank of chains above her.
Clank, clank.
Her efforts to ignore it only prompted the sound to increase, almost sounding impatient. Princess Celestia sighed before opening her eyes to see what foolishness was going on. She was stunned into speechlessness by the eerie sight that greeted her. A pale white figure wrapped in clanking chains followed... Oh my god, is this going to be Luna?
Well, Luna is in pale white, so I don't know.
No, that's a good point. It's going to be another Celestia!
Maybe it's a clown.
A pale white figure wrapped in clanking chains floated above Celestia's head. The pony-like apparition was a lifeless lack of color that no living pony coat could match. The figure glowed with a dark aura of spectral light as she hovered. The ghost was that of an earth pony, so it could not be using magic or wings to float like that.
Oh, this probably isn't Luna.
Interesting.
I am the ghost of your last personal secretary.
The totally spooky ghost spoke in a low voice.
Oh, low voice, darn it.
Whoopsie.
A low voice, both obviously repeating lines from a script, and just as obviously trying to apologize with its tone.
You will be visited tonight by 3 spirits to show you the error of your selfish life.
Hope you had a good heartswarming eve, Miss Sunshine. I trust you are enjoying your retirement?
The princess was confused, but that was no reason to be rude to a close friend.
God, I love Celestia.
I'm keeping busy, Your Highness.
The ghost replied automatically. Then her glowing aura shook her.
Do your Luna voice, do your Luna voice.
Okay.
Stick to your lines.
Yay!
Whispered absolutely no pony, perfectly concealed behind an invisibility spell. The white ghost sighed and perfunctorily shook her forelegs to make her chains clank again. Each movement seemed to scatter ethereal dust from her mane, coat, and tail. To the casual observer, it might possibly look like flour used to recolor a pony's appearance.
I'm a warning to you that if you do not mend your selfish ways, you will end up a wandering ghost like me, weighed down by chains of duty and regret.
Then the ghost floated backward, stopped, then turned in place as casually as possible before continuing, all with a tired look on her face.
I'll see you next week for tea.
So, I'm confused. Is this actually a dead person that they're mimicking, or is this just the secretary never even died?
I think it's the secretary never even died.
That's so good.
We don't know. Celestia's wild, dude. She could see ghosts, for all we know.
Oh my god. She's just like going through so much that at this point she's like, okay, I guess I'm seeing a ghost.
Maybe she lives like Paranorman.
Never seen it, but I
Such
hope
a good
that...
movie.
I know, that's what I've been told.
You like Coraline, right?
Yeah.
You must like Paranorman.
That's what people say, and I've been meaning to watch it, but like, I'm supposed to watch it during October, and then I always forget when October comes.
Hold on. Let me just get my calendar. Don't you worry, Wizzy. I'm going to tell you to watch Paranorman next October.
Thank you. I'm going to do a Paranorman My Little Pony fic.
All right, there we go. Hopefully we don't have a really bad falling out.
Oh, that would be sad. And then that note just comes up, and then you spitefully text me, hey, I know what we're going through right now, but you still have to watch this movie.
If you died, it would be even worse. When I
get to be Paranorman.
No, Paranorman isn't dead.
Aw. I get to be one of his friends.
I mean, maybe he does die. I don't know. It's a movie.
Princess Celestia called out just before the very spooky ghost was covered in darkness and disappeared. The sound of the bedroom door opening and closing in the deep darkness was just Princess Celestia's ears playing tricks on her. No doubt the stress of such a frightening experience had unnerved her. Very spooky ghosts do not need to use a door to leave, after all.
That's true.
Chapter 2. The First Mysterious Spirit. The clock Celestia didn't know she had ticked in the darkness. It seemed like she spent hours waiting and dreading the promised apparition. Even though only a few minutes had truly passed, the silence of the room was ended by an unseen presence.
I am the spirit of hearth-swarming Eve's past.
A completely unfamiliar voice spoke to Princess Celestia. A moment later, an unearthly spirit appeared from the darkness. It could not be any mortal being. Loose cloth of some unnatural material shrouded its exact form, but what few details could be determined showed it was no creature of this world. The sides of its shroud billowed even with no wind present. Its head towered over any normal pony and came to a sharp point at the very top. It moved towards the bed with unnatural grace no mortal pony could match. Princess Celestia tried to plead with the unknowable forces of the great beyond.
Luna, I know you went to play, but I had a really long day and...
Silence!
The very mysterious spirit commanded with a voice used to shouting royal orders. One shrouded leg lifted in proclamation.
Your wealth and power have blinded you to the true joy of this sacred holiday. I have come to show you a vision of the past, to remind you of what happened to those who didn't understand what you have forgotten.
Princess Celestia and the impossible-to-identify spirit were engulfed in darkness. Celestia let out a sound that could possibly be mistaken for a sigh, but obviously must have been a gasp of terror at being taken from the world she knew to the distant past.
So I'm guessing the narration of this is all just like from Luna's perspective, sort of.
Yeah, I think so.
A retelling of this.
Which frankly, it's very clever and I love it.
Yeah.
See what happens when the leaders of ponies forget the joy of harmony?
The clever and mysterious spirit whispered as a window opened in the darkness to show 3 mares sitting around a heavy table. A Pegasus in ancient armor, an earth pony in hoof-stitched clothes, and a unicorn in crown and fur cape.
That's the thing that I was talking about earlier.
Is this the founders?
Yeah, those are the founders.
Yo! Oh, so is that like the play that she saw then?
Yep.
Because they called the play something else in the title, but I don't know.
Yeah.
This was back when you were enjoying the simple pleasures of long nights with your sister, instead of ruling as these ponies did, as you do now.
The 3 ponies below were arguing loudly when first seen, then fell into silence to glare at each other across the table. All 3 were familiar to Princess Celestia, as she is the patron of many alternative theaters in Canterlot, and all 3 were actors at one of the few places that would be putting on a pageant this late tonight.
Luna, do you know what the term avant-garde means?
Princess Celestia asked in a very casual voice.
The spirits know all,
was the only reply to occur before the scene below changed dramatically. The Pegasus jumped onto the table with an electric guitar. He stood expertly on his hind legs, using his wings to help maintain his balance, and dove into a blazing heavy metal guitar solo that represented the Pegasi independence and determination to never surrender. Princess Celestia could almost hear the spirit beside her blink at the unexpected sight, and a second blink when the ponies representing the Wendigos came out to tap dance in a circle around the table. The other 2 ponies that had been at the table were nowhere to be seen.
Oh yes, the memories are coming back to me.
Celestia draped a foreleg across her forehead, dramatically.
Those simple days of my youth, when the nights were full of happiness and kazoos.
Wait, what? Kazoos?
The calm and collected spirit sputtered. Any further speech was drowned out by the tidal wave of sound from dozens of kazoos. The Earth Pony Chancellor marched back onto the stage, leading the Earth Pony chorus in a stirring, buzzing rebuttal to proclaim Earth Pony resilience and honor.
That is actually kind of the vibe that we got from the Earth Ponies.
Kazoos?
Yeah. Let's just say they had Pinkie Pie play the Chancellor.
That's so good.
Knowing her time was at an end, and assured that Princess Celestia had learned the intended lesson, the spirit pulled the darkness around them both to return Princess Celestia to her own time. Both of them got only a glimpse of the smoke, lasers, and disco ball of Princess Platinum's entrance.
Perfect.
That's so good.
2 more spirits will visit you before the night is done.
A totally spooky voice spoke when Princess Celestia found herself alone in her bedroom once more. She had no way of knowing the voice, so the tone of annoyance in it must have been her imagination.
We should have stayed longer,
Celestia said with a smirk.
I'm not sure I learned my lesson yet. They hadn't gotten to the silent interpretive dance of Pansy, Clover, and Cookie lamenting their ruler's mistakes.
Is that how the play goes?
No.
I wish.
I mean, I guess they do lament their ruler's mistakes, but it's not interpretive dance for the one that we saw, at least.
Yeah, I'm guessing this is just like she saw these people performing at another theater or something before where they did do this.
Yeah, this one was the avant-garde version.
Oh, that's right. That's so good.
A low sound, which some poor unbalanced psyche might think was an angry grumble, filled the air, as the spirit had already vanished into the mysterious cosmic emptiness from which it came. Do-do-do-do-do. Chapter 3. A completely different unknown mysterious spirit.
Man, who
okay,
are
since
these
you're
guys?
a total noob at A Christmas Carol, this is gonna be the ghost of Christmas present. The
What?
one that they show you the present.
I thought
The
this
stuff
was
happening right now.
Wait, I thought this was before Christmas Day. So why are they doing the presents already?
I hate to tell you this. The joke's been done before. Actually, in a heartwarming tale, the episode from earlier, you remember that? Pinkie Pie is actually the ghost of Christmas presents.
Oh,
Like Christmas presents.
nice.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting, this time Celestia got out of bed and headed down the palace corridors to a futile attempt to prove some understandable, mortal cause of her troubles. She went directly to her sister's bedroom and knocked on the door, probably waking her poor sister up. After the knock, she opened the door to her sister's unlit bedchamber.
Luna, this is amusing, but I think it should...
Celestia paused her train of thought as she looked into the room. Celestia had only average night vision. She didn't have the perfect sight in darkness her sister, Princess of the Night, did. Her eyes could still, however, make out broad shapes in the mostly dark room, such as, to pick a completely random example, telling the difference between an alicorn with a black coat and one with a bright pink one.
Welcome, mine dearest sister. What brings thou to mine bedchambers this late into mine glorious night?
The figure rose from the bed and gracefully moved towards the open door, until one of her legs whacked into a heavy chest. Then the figure stumbled gracefully and muttered impolite words under her breath.
Let's hear him.
Darn. Heck.
Those are my impolite words for her muttering.
Didn't sound like muttering.
That was my best attempt at muttering. I've never been much of a mutterer.
You should try it more. It's fun.
Yeah, I'm too enunciative. It's my one flaw.
Princess Celestia honestly had no idea how to respond to that, so she backed up until she was in the hallway and closed the door to her sister's bedroom.
I am the spirit of hearth-warming Eve present. Ooh.
Luna, you aren't even using a different voice for each spirit.
I've come to show you how your selfishness affects your subjects.
The impossible-to-identify spirit said in the bad Trottingham accent it had been using the entire time. Honest.
How little they have when you enjoy your palace and servants.
And Trottingham accents sound a lot like normal Luna accents.
Ooh, witness this vision of other ponies enjoying the holiday without your wealth or power.
As the unknown spirit spoke, the darkness of the night flowed all around Celestia, sweeping her away from the hallway outside of her sister's room via unexplainable cosmic forces. She found herself floating over a small town, one of many in Equestria, all of them more or less the same, a random town indistinguishable from any of the...
You teleported us. That's Ponyville.
Celestia, of course, knew exactly which town it was.
Look how your subjects enjoy the holiday with only the barest necessities of survival.
The mysterious and very clever unknown spirit pointed at a unicorn trotting along in the village below.
You mean Rarity? A small business owner who regularly has nobility for clients?
Of course not. See the lonely Pegasus who lives all alone.
Oh yes, Rainbow Dash. Weather team leader, award-winning flyer, and the subject of devoted admiration from at least 5 fan clubs across Equestria and the Buffalo Lands.
Grr.
And me. I'm a fan.
Grr. Witness a poor student separated from her family.
The spirit, perfectly composed and calm and unknown.
Ah, yes, Twilight Sparkle, protege to the ruler of the kingdom. Once the 3rd most powerful unicorn alive, and now the 4th alicorn princess in all the world. Look, she's headed to her immense crystal castle that looms over the town.
Fine, we must return, for a spirit's time is short.
Look, there's Applejack, the poor farmer whose apples are sold in every city in the kingdom. Looks like her happy and well-fed family are coming into town to spend the holiday with their close personal friend, the recently ascended Alicorn Princess.
Celesta exclaimed gleefully as she pointed with one hoof.
Don't know who this Celesta character is. Introduced out of nowhere.
Hello, it's me, Celesta.
She found herself wrapped in darkness and deposited back to her bed, face first.
One more spirit will visit you this night.
A voice from nowhere said it was a sign of Princess Celestia's harrowing experiences that she imagined hearing some ponies sticking out their tongue and blowing a raspberry at her. The unknown spirit, of course, had already vanished as mysteriously as it had appeared.
Oh, creepy.
Chapter 4. The 3rd completely different, mysterious, and very scary spirit.
Ooh.
Celestia grumbled briefly as she righted herself to sit upright in her bed. Then her whole body shook slightly. Her trembling could only be fear, for she knew one more terrifying spirit would be visiting her before the night ended. Yes, fear, and the hoof to her muzzle was certainly not there to suppress giggles. Before her fragile mental state broke down completely, the third spirit appeared in mid-air.
I can see your hooves under the sheet,
Celestia commented. The third and last spirit, silent as the grave, landed on the floor at the foot of the bed as it had planned to do all along. A shrouded leg gestured for Celestia to follow, before the figure slowly turned to walk towards the door. Celestia considered the situation for only a moment before getting up to accompany the impossible and unknown spirit that was completely different from the first two spirits that had visited her. Out in the hall, the guards were huddled together to the right of the door. They were holding on to the cards in a hoof, and their lips were moving as if trying to memorize something. As Celestia emerged from her bedroom, they looked away, obviously unaware of her presence, as if she were merely a spectral observer of events not yet to come to pass. Oh my god. It finally happened. The first guard read off his note card. Who will the kingdom pass to now that the princess is gone? The second guard had done better and only needed to glance at his note card.
I don't know, but surely our luck isn't so bad to get... Hold on. Doesn't Equestria have a very clear line of succession?
The first guard glanced over at the princess while trying to shush his companion with sharp hoof motions.
Ah, right.
The second guard returned his attention to the note card in his hoof.
Surely, our luck isn't so bad as to get a successor as strict as the princess was.
Both guards looked apologetically at Celestia. The spooky third spirit pointed out a nearby window with a shroud-covered hoof.
Are you sure, Spirit?
Celestia continued to suppress the certainly not a giggle terror that shook her whole body.
I think I see some of the palace cleaning staff at the end of the hallway practicing their lines for when we...
The spirit moved to block Celestia's view of the hallway and pointed firmly at the window. Celestia rolled her eyes and spread her wings to take flight. The mysterious third spirit followed with the sides of its ethereal shroud billowing, as if moved by unseen forces. Celestia was led over the dark city. Any sounds of merriment heard over what was certainly not a muffling spell was of course only her hopeful imagination. The nameless and formless spirit brought her to an overgrown glade. It obviously was long abandoned and away from sight and memory of the citizens of nearby Canterlot. In the middle of the clearing was a single plain gray slab of stone sticking out of the ground. The clever, unknown, and spooky third spirit pointed at the stone dramatically. If it had been a living creature with wings, the raised sides of the shroud would have been those wings, flaring up dramatically before quickly snapping shut. Since this was a nameless messenger from the beyond, it must have been an unfelt gust of ethereal cosmic energies. Celestia's curiosity got the better of her. She landed and walked over to look at the ominous stone. It was a plain gravestone with her name carved on it. The sight of it caused Celestia to lose her composure. She fell down as spasms of intense emotion overcame her. Her howls of laughter could be heard all across the mountain. The ponies of Canterlot were cheered up and took comfort in their princess's good humor on the cold holiday night. The stoic and mysterious spirit stomped a hoof and might have been pouting under her shroud.
Ahem. Sorry.
Celestia pulled herself together. She wiped the tears from her eyes and turned to the ominous and foreboding spirit.
Is this the future that will be? Or is it merely a future that might be? Because having a plain, unadorned headstone would be wonderful.
Aw, she's what's the word I'm...
Humble.
Thank you, that's the word I was looking for.
You're welcome.
The unknown spirit just sighed and sat down on the ground and pouted. Princess Celestia sat down next to her and gave the spirit a warm hug.
Poor spirit. I'm glad that Celestia's comforting him.
Yeah, she's nice. Chapter 5. Finn.
How did you figure out it was me, sister?
Well, the tip of your horn had poked a hole in the sheet and about an inch of it was showing. You used your own sheets, which have your name and the phases of the moon repeating along the edge, but mostly Our remains are ethereal energy, which isn't blocked by thin silk. I could see your mane and tail the whole time.
Oh, drat.
Princess Luna took off her amazing spirit disguise.
I knew I should have used one of your sheets. Your name in the suns would have confused you into believing it was yourself.
I don't think that would have.
Celestia paused in thought.
Okay, that might have worked. I'm thinking about teaching Twilight time travel magic soon.
What about my perfect plan to throw you off the scent with that perfect doppelganger in my room?
You mean that's what Cadence was doing in your bedroom with the lights out and speaking in that atrocious caricature of a bat pony accent?
Oh my god.
She tripped over something in the dark. In the dark.
Yo, it's like the third bat pony mention. Let's count it.
Hell yeah, let's go, baby.
Celestia paused to think about it all.
However, she did attempt to disguise her voice without needing some pony to point it out. So I have to say it was the best part of your entire plan, sister.
The two sat in comfortable silence for a few countless minutes.
You want a plain headstone to mark your passing?
Luna relaxed by her sister's side, their wings draped over each other.
We are doomed to have elaborate monuments for our resting places, dear sister.
I know. Their ambitions have only gotten worse while you were gone.
Celestia rested her head against Luna's neck and closed her eyes.
They keep trying to build a monument for me in secret since I said I don't want one. The last attempt managed to last 8 months before I found out about it. They hadn't even finished clearing and leveling out the ground at that point.
Did you find plans for what they intended to build?
Luna's wing gave her sister a warm squeeze.
They were planning on building a gleaming gold pyramid the size of this entire mountain with a statue of me on it the size of Canterlot.
That does seem excessive.
Luna shifted positions slightly so she could nuzzle her sister's cheek.
Even the ancient crystal architects did not dream so big.
Thank you for all of this, dear sister.
Celestia nuzzled back.
It might not have gone the way you wanted, but it was just what I needed.
If you are feeling better, that's the most important thing. The rest, well, I will take it as a lesson to spend more than half an hour to prepare a prank. Should we go back to the palace now?
I thought that she was trying to, convince Celestia that she was selfish or something, so that she would be, nicer to Luna. I don't know.
Nah, I think it's just to get her less grumpy. It kind of is just what the spirits were doing in A Christmas Carol. So
Nice.
This works as an adaptation. Not yet. There's another play you should know about. It's called A Heartswarming Eve Story. I'm sure Ponyville won't mind helping us have a bit of fun with Twilight Sparkle tomorrow.
Both princesses giggled. They would enjoy spreading the fun. But later, for now it was wonderful to finally spend a hearth-warming eve with family once again.
Aw, ain't that
The
sweet.
end.
And that was Luna Just Learned About the Play Heartswarming Carol by Singularity Dream.
Reminds me a lot of, I think it was Luna's Nightmare Night thing.
Personally,
Nice hearthwarming counterpart to that.
yeah. Personally, I prefer this one.
Me too.
But, Christmas. And more importantly, A Christmas Carol.
This one, it felt a little bit confusing at first, just because I thought they were going to be doing the play from the episode, sort of, because they had those characters introduced. But it seemed more just like that was from Luna's memory of the people that Celestia knew, rather than knowledge of that play, because she mentions it right at the end there.
Yeah, I think this is definitely, honestly, not the best format for this story. Speaking of, y'all should have gone down into the descriptions and read both these stories yourselves. That's my bad. That's been a while since I've had to say that. I think if I was just reading this on my own, it probably would have made a lot more sense to me. But with that being said, I wouldn't have gotten your Luna voice. So
True.
glad that we brought those back.
Yeah, that whole part with Cadence was, you really understand it when you're reading it mostly, but it was so confusing at first because
Yeah.
could not tell who was supposed to be talking. But that was so funny. They brought freaking Cadence over just for this princess of the Crystal Empire. She didn't have anything better to do on this night.
You know what? I commend both Luna for inviting Cadence to live out her dream of being Luna, and also to Cadence for taking time out of her busy schedule to help Luna with this.
I gotta wonder, maybe Cadence was over with shining armor for hearthwarming. Maybe visiting.
Could have been. Maybe shining armor was also in the bed.
Ooh. That would be so gross because that was Luna's bed.
I'm not saying they were doing anything.
I think that was the implication.
Yeah, it was. That was supposed to be the implication. Merry Christmas.
I don't get why this chapter was named Finn, though. There was no fish.
Okay, yep. As a Christmas Carol enthusiast, I freaking loved it. It plays off of Christmas Carol pretty well, and I think I've seen this sort of thing done before. But doesn't matter, because I still loved it. It still did it well, and that's all you can ask for, really.
Yeah.
Good job on that. Loved it. Honestly, you say sometimes that certain fics that we read are like an episode of the show. I think that this seemed like an issue of the comics, which are, the comics are a lot goofier. They can also get a lot darker than the show, but a lot of just the jokes in the comics are really wacky and out there, kind of like this. So I think this would have actually really worked well in the comics.
Nice.
But, that's just me.
And all these 83 people who liked it and 0 who disliked, if anyone changes that, I'm coming to your home and turning you in a horsehide.
Oops. Was that important?
Wait, did you actually hit the downvote button?
Yeah.
I just saw that I hit the like button and then it changed to 82 likes and 1 dislike.
No, I've given it a like. And wonderful. You all should there too. And the other one, which was the night Sunset Shimmer tried to kill Santa Claus. Good stuff all around. Okay.
I'm so confused. It was at 83 likes before, and now it's at 83 likes again, and when I take my like away, it goes down to 82.
Fanfiction is weird with likes sometimes. Don't read into it.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Can't wait for the rest of the season.
See ya!
He stood expertly on his hind legs.
Expertly?
People say I say that weird. I hear people say expertly.
I've never heard you say that, I guess. It's expertly, but whatever.
I don't think there's a consensus.
I think there is.
For you.
For the English language.
I'm gonna roast you alive.
I don't want that.